Hello, everybody. Happy Dia de los Muertos to you all. Hope you had a good Halloween. Did everyone go out? Trick or treat? Hey, Gabe, Colin, how you doing? I had a great Halloween. Went out. A lot of people out. Got a lot of candy. Even got a Heath bar, which is pretty good. A Baby Ruth. You're never too old to trick or treat. Hey, Daniel Cortez. Hope everyone out there had a good Halloween and a good Dia de los Muertos here. Another great holiday. Unfortunately, the San Antonio, Texas Muertos Festival was canceled this year, which I understand, but sure is a bummer. That's an awesome festival. If you ever get a chance to go to San Antonio, Texas, to the Hemisphere, the big park there with the Dia de los Muertos Festival, it's one of the best times of your life. Great gorditas, great people, custom ofrendas that everyone builds, and you come and you see people who spent a year building something. It's pretty rad. Hey, thanks, Colin. I know I love this mask. I have it on my wall now. Just gonna keep it on my wall all year long. You know, if I were still in Santa Ana, California, I might be at Fairhaven tonight, Fairhaven Cemetery. If you're out in Santa Ana, go take a look there. Gabe's learning how to fold t-shirts. Do you know how I learned how to fold t-shirts? I used to work at Robinson's, which was a department store, if you're from the West Coast. Then became Robinson's May. I used to work at Robinson's in the polo department. And I used to make a grip of money for high school because polo paid half the salary, Robinson's paid half the salary. It was rad. But I folded shirts all night long, and we had a folding board, a mobile folding board, and you had a folding board that you learned how to fold on. So you had it straight down the middle, and then you'd pull it over this way, you'd pull it over that way, tuck up a third of the way, pull it up another third of the way. So if you don't know how to fold shirts, do they still have department stores? I don't know. I don't think they fold anything at department stores nowadays, but back then it had to be perfect or you lost your job. Hey, what's doing tonight? Who wants to talk to Jackson? Anybody? Should we talk to him? Hey, what's up, Jackson?
My boy.
What's going on, man?
What's up, dude? I just ended my YouTube live and I said, I'm going to Brad's, to Pester Brad. All you people, let's go. Come on.
You're the greatest, dude. I love the energy. I almost wanted to try to rip you off with your intro, but it's embarrassing. I can't compete.
That's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
What is up? Have you. What's new, man? Did you move?
I did, bro. I'm in my new space. I love it. It's awesome. I'm so good. I'm so excited.
Was moving horrible?
I hate moving. Oh, it's the worst.
Do you have it down to a science, though? Do you have it all organized, or is it a mess?
Half and half.
I mean, you have like a crazy amount of stuff. I mean, I don't know how it's half and half. It's probably got nuts.
Well, I haven't got my shop and my wood shop and metal shop stuff yet. It's still in storage. I gotta go back and get it. But I finally got get all my studio stuff in and set up, and that's been nice. So that's awesome.
So the new space is big. Is it bigger than the Kyle place?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's what I like to hear.
This is her.
Whoa, you got molding up there too. Wow. What kind of shelf is that?
It's a Uline bookshelf.
Uline is good. That's like office supply, office pro.
I got all my pictures. I haven't got my pictures up. There's old Teddy.
Wow.
There's Washington. Look at that. Boom. The general.
Yeah, back when politicians actually, had to fight combat.
Here's the old, the painting of the Declaration.
That's a beautiful painting.
Where's the old? There's the Declaration right there.
Now, since you're in Tennessee now, have you made a trip to the Hermitage?
No, that's in. I haven't made it there yet. Here's another good one. Here's the Lexington and Concord.
But that's amazing.
So, anyways, I'm excited about getting all those up.
What were they doing? Just sitting around in storage?
Well, I just unpacked them and I haven't been able to put them on the wall yet. So,
You got to go to the Hermitage, man. That's one of the best trips I ever had in my life. Was about 10 years ago. I made it there, and what an awesome museum. When you get to see Andrew Jackson's clothing, and you
oh
see
yeah,
that he was 6'1" and weighed, I think, 145 or
oh yeah,
140.
he was a little guy.
The waist is like a corset. Like you're sitting there in front of the thing, and you think like, and the sleeping habits. They said that that back then they would go to bed at like 7 p.m. in the winter, 6 p.m. in the winter, and they were up at 3.
That's crazy.
I know. And then he used to set his revolver out like on his coffee table, and then if you didn't talk about it within a half hour, he would say, "Aren't you going to ask me about the revolver?"
But that doesn't sound too out of the question.
I know. That's what you should do with playing cards, though. You should just set the Federal 52s there, and if someone doesn't bring it up, kick them out.
I actually do. I was unpacking. I just got a bunch of. They're right here. These are all old cigarette decks that I bought from an old lady that her husband passed away, and I was putting them in this thing.
Cigarette boxes?
Cigarette decks, like old cigarette decks, and they had one of those old Virginia Slim double packs.
Yeah. The one with the repeating logo on it?
Yeah,
I love
and
those.
I put it on my coffee table.
It's funny that would be controversial today. Like, just growing up, I mean, we all grew up around cigarette machines, cigarette playing cards, and now, I mean, you could never print that.
Oh yeah, these are all really cool too. Like let's see, you got like these old like Salem lights.
It looks just like the pack.
Oh yeah, and for sure there's one that's like a Kent. That's basically like exactly like one of my table players decks. Yeah, this one, not that. Look at this one, dude. It's a Frankly Delicious, and it's
Is that
a hot dog bun.
Hot dog bun?
Yes, this is Frankly Delicious.
Now, who came up with that, though? Like, advertising guy. Did he lose his job after that?
I don't know.
Like, think about the combo of a hot dog and a cigarette. I mean, that's a disgusting combo.
It's crazy. But the cool thing is all these bad boys were printed, either, the United States Playing Card Company.
I wonder if they made a 555 State Express. I think they did.
Is that like a cigarette company?
Yeah, the British State Express, 555.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Like, there's that Virginia Slims one.
That's the best one. Dan and Dave had that deck, like, I saw like 20 years ago or 17 years ago, and they had that deck, and I always liked that the best.
Newport.
My old neighbor used to smoke Newports. He used to throw them in the dumpster, the gutter by me, and you'd see the Newport pack all the time.
I should show this to the Bucks.
Dude, I have a pack of that. I have it's like a plastic pack. And
Yeah.
It has like poker chips in it.
And then look at this one. There's old Camels.
Now, were you ever a fan of Joe Camel? Did you ever like the artwork?
It was all right. I mean, it wasn't something that I was like, oh, I love that.
Pall Mall's awesome. You know who smoked Pall Malls was Rod Serling from the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. What is this one? Oh, yeah, another one. But anyways, I thought, oh, here's the one that looks just like a Kent box right here. Look at that.
That's beautiful.
This is like one of my table players decks for next year. It says like King's Wild or something. It looks basically just like this with the gold tear strip.
Yeah, I love the tear strip. We've indulged our love of those.
Yes.
Hey, what does that say about a real man on the side of there?
Which one? Oh,
Yeah,
this is Red Man chewing tobacco.
oh, I thought it said real man, like the old
No, Red
Dodge
Man.
advertisement.
Yeah, no, Red Man.
Can I see that cool? That orange
Yeah,
cool?
yeah, yeah. This one?
No, bottom, like left? Yes. I love that.
Isn't that awesome?
I love that. Is that orange?
Yes. Do you want some of these? I got a whole box of like some duplicates that I don't want.
Oh, I
I
want
can
them.
send them to you.
I want them
I'll
all.
send them to you.
Can you sign them all?
Let's see. I think the box is over here that I got from that lady.
Now, was this lady in Chattanooga?
No, she was just on the. Yeah, I'll send you this whole box. Oh, it's
Oh,
huge.
please.
I'm just gonna rip it. I gotta bend down and do it. I don't want to break my back.
Your house looks nice, man.
What?
Your house looks great.
Oh, thanks.
See, I like the molding on top. It's not just, textured drywall.
There's my Middle Earth map.
I know you and my wife would be talking for hours. She's a big Lord of the Rings fan. She's read all the
Look at
books
that.
20 times. Oh, I need that. I need that Winston. What's Golden Lights?
I have no idea. I got a bunch of those. United States Playing Card Company, Cincinnati, Ohio.
That's amazing. I wonder what a print run was back then of like a cool playing card deck.
Well, I don't know, but I do see this. Like, they did a thing where they printed this standard box. Like, you can see the standard box.
Yeah.
And then they would put a different like company. Like, there's Viceroy, but it's the same box. And they would do a different company. So like there's Cool, Bel Air. Look at that one. Look at this is a beauty right here. This is a Butte Clark.
I love that. You know what? I never understood light cigarettes though. Like you have the holes, the perforated filter, but it's like the same cigarette.
Yeah.
So it's like you're smoking less supposedly, but then you just smoke more cigarettes in a day. Oh, the Dunhill's killer.
Yeah, look at that. With that gold side. Look at that.
I love Dunhill. Do you remember Dunhill lighters?
Yes.
They had great lighters. See, I like Winston. I like that box.
Little Camel.
You know what Camel reminds me of is Dan Phillips. Dan Phillips, the Camel guy.
Yeah. There's Marlboro.
When I was like growing up, like my friend's sister owned a coffee shop, and she used to collect the Camel. I think we had points for like jackets and stuff, and then Marlboro.
Totally. Totally. I remember that, dude.
He used to have tons of just cigarette gear all the time. It's a weird ad style, like the style of Joe Camel. I don't know. It's a weird style.
It's very much late 80s, early 90s airbrush.
Yes.
And that's the way everybody did it. Because, I mean, the guys that I kind of mentored under when I started off in the illustration business, look at that.
Oh, I love that ad.
They got that. You got this one.
Wait, so those are both cool ads, but they have different girls.
Yeah, they got the black girl and the white girl. They're trying to be racially diverse.
Well, I like the one in the red shirt.
Let's see. Look at this Viceroy one.
I never liked the name Viceroy. I always thought it was Viceroy, Viceroy.
All right, anyways. I don't know if you want to just keep. Probably don't want to see these. Here's a Kent one again. I didn't see this one.
I want the one with the girls on it. I want the cool.
I'll send you this whole box.
Please. It will not be returned to sender.
This is cool too. Like, look at this Winston, this old Winston pack. There's not even a tuck case. It's just wrapped in cellophane, but it's got the aristocrat Joker.
Now, do you think that was just do you think there was any design talk at all, or do you think the cigarettes companies just said, "Hey, give us 2,000 of these to send with purchase"?
Yeah, I think it's just they put in the backs, but this is the aristocrat Joker, so I'm guessing that these are aristocrat court cards on this Winston deck.
Have you handled any of these cards, the Cincinnatis, and tested them versus like a new King's Wild?
Well, let me see. Let me see if I got one open. Like, here's a Camel. Here's Camel, Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, you got it. I mean, come on. But you're asking me who I don't know anything. I can't handle anything. Let's see.
they've always felt way stiffer to me, the Cincinnati's. And it's funny, if you look at a map where Erlanger is versus Cincinnati, I mean, like across the street.
Here's the ace of spades. It's just a straight up bicycle 808.
Yeah, I love that. I love that ace.
Yeah, I mean, these are pretty old. I mean, they're not fanning.
You can actually fan, though.
Yeah, I can fan them. Not good. Let me see if I can faro. Faro's really good for a 35-year-old deck.
I'm amazed that you can faro a deck of cards. That's great.
It actually faro's really good. It doesn't. The finish is definitely old. Smells delicious though. It smells like grandpa and whiskey.
No, what do you think is old? Maybe it's both. Maybe it's old granddad.
Yeah, what I need, bro. I love old granddad whiskey.
I love old granddad.
That's half of the King's Wild whiskey that we blended for Edred is old granddad. It's half old granddad and old Forester.
I never had Old Forester.
Yeah. What I should do is try to find one that's not opened. Here's one that's not open. This is a Kent one. This is Cincinnati. Yeah, Cincinnati. Let's see. Let's see how it feels. Smells good.
Is it old granddad?
Yeah, see, that's the aristocrat Joker right there.
What do you think?
Now, I just opened these, and I'm guessing that these are at least late 80s. This is buttery smooth.
Is it like double varnished?
These are not even. I don't think these are even like embossed at all.
Oh, they're just like the ivory finish.
Yeah. Boy, they faro good though. They're
good.
very.
I thought you didn't touch cards.
I don't. They're very stiff. These are almost like. These are like super casino stock. They're very stiff.
Do you ever go to casinos?
No.
Is it legal in Tennessee to have a casino?
I don't think so.
I think it's in Mississippi because when I was in Memphis one time, we drove to Hollywood, Mississippi, and they had casinos there.
Look at this one. This one's a, Benson and Hedges?
Yeah, oh sure.
No tuck. It just came like this, Benson and Hedges. But it was printed by the Cincinnati as well.
I wonder what they charged for a tuck versus just a cello wrap.
I don't know.
Like for cost. I mean, I wonder what they would have charged Philip Morris.
Golly, this thing is tight. Like this feels like it came off the printer yesterday.
It looks like glass.
It does. I don't want to open it.
I wouldn't open that. Look at that.
Look at that.
It looks
Look
like
at
it's
the edges.
gilded.
Look at, you can see yourself in it. Look at that.
That's probably the most beautiful deck I've ever seen in my life.
Well, that'll be in your box.
Oh man, that's a gift. This is the
All right.
greatest night ever.
All right, we can stop. We can have me stop talking.
Dude, I'm excited to see your new place.
I'm excited. There's another one. Look at that. Another Benson and Hedges, the same type. Look at that.
You know, my godmother still to this day, when she goes to the casino, she smokes Benson and Hedges, and I asked her, where do you find them? I never see Benson and Hedges anywhere. Do you see them around or what?
No, I mean, so many of those brands. Look at this one.
Whoa, what's that?
Compliments of Lorillard. Isn't that the Newport brand?
I never even heard of it. It looks like Nike, and that's Newport for sure. It's kind of like Nike.
Yeah, it totally looked like Nike.
But
This one's like,
come first.
and it says not for resale. And this thing is cellophane tight too. You're gonna get lots of goodies.
Man, you're the best. I'm still waiting for coffee though.
I know.
Are you out of coffee or what? Are you still roasting it?
Well, I'm still roasting. We just haven't roasted any lately because of we've been moving.
I know.
There's another Winston in perfect solo,
Oh, I love the Winston.
as tight as a drum.
You know what? What's his name? I was with Justin Buck last year in Austin, and he told me that Pall Mall was cheap because it was the shreds of Marlboro that were going to be thrown away, and they reconstitute it and put it in Pall Mall.
Wow,
Is that true?
that's great. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not a smoker. I didn't know.
Yeah, neither do I. All right, there's so many goodies in here. Anyways.
So what did you talk about in your Q&A?
I
want an update.
We were talking about like what's coming out, like our releases for Black Friday and the holidays and all that kind of stuff.
What are you doing?
We got the new King's Wild Tigers coming out on Thursday. We got the new Deck the Halls deck, the new Legal Tender decks. I did a deck for my buddies that own an oil company, and it's called Double Eagle. I did a deck for them that we're going to release.
Are those the guys from West Texas with the 3 on the card?
Mm-hmm.
I love that deck.
The what on the card?
Like the 3. I think it's you and then the 2 guys.
Yes, that's them. That's my buddies.
So you're going to have that available?
Yeah, we're going to have like 500 of those available. So I'm trying to pull it over on my screen here. Yeah.
That looks like kind of like a Federal 52.
Yep, they love that Federal 52 stuff, and they're my buds, and so I wouldn't do that for anybody else, but I kind of made them kind of an amalgamation of all the stuff that they liked, and I kind of redid some of the branding. It said Double Eagle. They really like it. They're pretty pumped.
What's the story behind the Gizzard?
The Gizzard?
Mm-hmm.
Edred the Gizzard. Edred is my grandfather.
That's a cool name. That's a name you don't hear anymore.
Yep, and I don't know if people know, but I'm not taking my clothes off. I'm just showing you a shirt that's underneath my flannel shirt.
Well, you can take it off. It's okay.
This shirt right here with the rooster. This was the rooster that's on the edge of the Gizzard tuck case. My granddad had a pet rooster that was mean. And all the kids in the neighborhood, well, it's not really a neighborhood because he lived out in the country, but all the kids from around the area were scared to death of this rooster. And so they started calling my granddad Edred the Gizzard. That's his nickname.
Why? Because chicken gizzards?
No, because his pet rooster was so mean. And there's actually my dad tells a story that's recorded on SoundCloud about this rooster and about him confronting this rooster with like a big sack full of rocks when he's like 8 years old, and it's awesome.
So we can hear it on SoundCloud?
Yes, it's awesome.
Oh, I want to hear it. Dude, I love old stories.
Oh yeah. It's part of the story series that my brother puts on called ArcLight Stories, and my dad tells the story, and my dad can tell stories, man. And he talks about my granddad Edred, and he talks the whole thing. It's 15 minutes long, and it's nothing about him facing off with this rooster. This one right here, Edred the Gizzard.
So your brother, for everyone that doesn't know, has 6'5" Productions, which is like a marketing agency in Alabama, I believe.
Yep.
What brought
and he started this thing about 7 years ago called ArcLight Stories, where he would coach people on how to tell stories. And every month they would put on an event where they pick a theme for that month. And it usually was like seasonal. So like at Halloween, it was like scary stories. Valentine's was like love stories, whatever. And they would pick like 4 people, and they would tell real life stories at these events, and it blew up and is really popular. And one of my dad would tell his story like on like the growing up or something themed night.
Have you been down there?
Oh yeah, I told my story I did one story once for like I think the theme was like spark of inspiration. I was telling them like how I got started in playing cards and stuff.
You started off with T-shirts. Did you tell them that?
Yep, I told them that whole story, and that's on. They have actually video of that story, me telling that story.
I had a buddy of mine, Rich Wilson, who lives in Idaho, and he told me that he bought your brother's 6'5" deck and a hat because he's 6'5".
Yeah,
That's a funny name.
It is. It's funny that I've had more than one people like buy those decks and say that because I'm 6'5" and because they're 6'5".
But here's the problem. So when I wake up in the morning and measure, I'm 6'5.2". By the end of the day, I'm 6'4.7". So at the end of the day, I have to take the hat off. I'm no longer 6'5".
You've shrunk.
What do you
do? Exactly. You kind of stretch up a little bit.
Yeah. You know, that's like all the NBA players when they'd go to the draft, they used to always say, like, get me into measure right away, right away. Like, they didn't want to get out of the bed. They would have the doctor come and measure them out because they wanted that height.
Really?
Yeah, dude, when you're tall, your back compresses as the day goes on. Yeah, it's gravity, it's compression, it's like loss of, what's it called, between your spine, cartilage.
Yes.
Compression.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's funny, too. Like, height is such a funny thing with guys. Like, when I worked at the Apple store, like, 20 years ago, this guy came in, and I got his license and stuff. He was buying a G5. And then he said, how tall are you? And I said 6'5". And he said, that's impossible because I'm 6'5". And this guy was obviously like 6'1". And I said, well, that puts me at 6'9", and I'm obviously not 6'9". And he said, no, really? You have to be like 6'9", because I'm like around 6'5". And his height kept changing in the story. And I was like, I'm like a retail employee. I don't want to say like, dude, you are not, this height. But I just said, okay. And it was just right, plain as day. His license said this height, and he was obviously not. And I had so many different guys over the years that you would look at the height and you'd be like, dude, no, you're not 6'4", you're 6'1". It's okay. It's weird, right? You know what I'm talking about?
I've been 6 foot since my freshman year in high school, and I've never.
Oh, so you grew fat. I mean, I wasn't 6 feet until maybe junior year.
Yeah, I grew really fast. I remember being taller than everybody, and then all of a sudden stopped. And then all the guys that were bigger than me in football got taller than me.
Well, see, I was always told that you stopped growing at 18. And then when I went to college, like, you got a health physical because your medical insurance was with the college back, I don't know if it still is. And the nurse said, how tall are you? And I said 6'2", because when I graduated high school, I was 6'2". And she said, honey, you ain't 6'2". Get over there. I said, okay. And she's like, you're 6'5". And I said, but you can't grow past 18. And she's like, oh, that's a bunch of nonsense. You're done growing by 20.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I had grown in high school, was 6'2" at, senior year, and then 6'5", by college, first year.
Yeah, I stopped growing. I stopped growing when I stopped growing height-wise when I was in freshman year, so that's 15.
Are your kids tall, though?
Yeah, my oldest daughter's she's really tall. She's almost taller than my wife now.
How tall is your wife?
Yeah, I think she's 5'10", I think.
Oh, that's tall. You know what I've noticed is that really tall people, the height usually comes from the maternal line. I don't know if there's any science on it, but like when I meet like tall people or tall families, the dad can be like, a regular kind of height, and the mom's just tall for a girl, and then they get freak kids.
Yeah, because my dad, my brother is 6'5", and my dad's 6'4". So they're definitely tall. They're both taller than me.
What about Edred?
I don't know how tall Edred was. I think he was 6'3", 6'4" too. And all my 9 uncles were at least 6'3", 6'4".
Could you imagine having 9 sons?
Bro, well they lived on a cotton farm, and so they needed the help.
It's true though. It's kind of like you get what you need. I mean, if you have a farm, you couldn't have done better than 9 boys.
No, heck no.
Not that girls can't do it, but you can be real mean to the boys. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, in the 1940s and 1950s, you can be really mean to them.
Were they in your town, like that you grew up in?
I grew up in Canyon, They grew up in my dad grew up in outside of Lubbock, Texas.
I've been to Lubbock.
Yeah.
I was in Lubbock, and I went to what I wanted to see there so bad my whole life, the Buddy Holly Museum.
Yeah. The Buddy Holly Museum. Yep.
And I said to my wife, this is the one night I will ever be in Lubbock, Texas. Let's go to the Buddy Holly. And we pulled in the parking lot, and it says closed Mondays. And it was Monday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you been there?
I haven't been to the Buddy Holly Museum, but I've been to, I used to grow up in that area. So it's just nothing but flat and nothing.
You know what, though? The best people were in Lubbock, Texas. Everyone
Yeah.
was great.
Everybody is really nice there, for sure.
My daughter left a stuffed animal that she was so attached to at a hotel. We were staying overnight. We were driving down, and we stayed overnight. And we get home, and she's like, where's my Totoro? You know, Totoro, the little Japanese animation doll. And I'm like, where is it? We were looking all over, and I'm like, did you leave it in Lubbock, Texas? We're never going to see the doll again. And she's crying. And so I call the hotel, and this guy's like, what's it look like? I'm like,
Of course.
it's like a blue. He's like, it's a blue critter, like a critter. And I'm like,
A
yeah,
blue,
critter.
a blue critter?
He said, give me a sec. And he comes back. He's like, I got that critter right here. Give me your address. I'll priority it to you. And I'm like, no way, dude. This was like 2 days later that we noticed it was gone. And dude, 2 days, like a day later, right at my door, perfect condition. And that was Lubbock to me. Really
That's
good.
awesome. That's awesome.
In California, it would have been put in a dumpster. It would have, dude. They would have thrown it away.
I still have lots of family that lives in Lubbock.
Now, could you live in Lubbock?
I don't think so. I don't think my allergies would let me live there, but I don't think I could. I don't think I could live there.
Wait, do they have cedar?
They have ragweed in the Panhandle, but yeah. But I like where I live now for sure a lot. So.
Well, Tennessee is like, you know, when I was doing a road trip from Austin to Lexington, Kentucky, you know, it takes forever to get out of Texas. You know, once you get to Dallas, you're like, okay, that was 3 hours. Now what? And then you're driving for eternity, and that Texarkana is just brown, flat, nothing. And then as soon as you hit Arkansas, it's like the most beautiful place in the world. Like right over the border, it's like Arkansas took all that beauty, like the green and the waterfall and the lush. And then Tennessee is just an extension of that. I mean, Tennessee's a beautiful state.
Yeah, where we lived where we first lived in Chattanooga, I thought it was pretty, but then where we moved now, it's like more up in the Smoky Mountains, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, you're by the Smokies then.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the south end of the Smokies now.
Have you looked up a place called Blackberry Farm?
No, I have not.
It's like it's a super expensive resort. Like I ate some like food somewhere, and they had jam from this place, and it said Blackberry Farm, Smoky Mountains. So I looked it up, and I'm like, man, that's beautiful. I want to stay there. And it was like $600 a night for some like cabin there. You know, it was crazy, but it looked.
I wonder where it's at.
Look up Blackberry Farm. It's in the Smoky Mountains. I have no idea if it's close to or what. Look up Blackberry Farm. It's like a mountain resort. Not a resort. It's like a farm, but you can have events.
It's nice.
How far is that from you?
Let's see. That's an hour and a half from me.
Oh, that's not bad. I would go there. I want to go there, like from Texas.
Yeah, that's actually really close.
Dude, you know what tripped me out today? Like, you know, you got to remember I'm still a Californian in Texas, and I was at the Botanical Garden today in Austin, and I was sitting on a wall, and I felt something like poke my leg, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And I look, and it's a centipede. It's one of those red-headed centipedes crawling out of the wall, like poking.
Those things are nasty.
Dude, it's like a dark kind of maroon with
the big one,
orange. Dude, this thing was like as thick as a snake.
Bro, those things bite you. Those things will make your day horrible.
Have you been bit by one?
No, but I know what they do. We would find those all the time at our place in Austin. Those things are gnarly.
Well, you had them on your property?
Oh yeah, all the time.
What did you because this thing like was coming out, and I saw it, and I jumped up, you know, like, and smacked my leg, and the thing went back into a hole. There was like a crack in the grout that it was in, but I could feel its like thing through my pants. I could feel like a little poke just on me.
Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm.
It had to be like, I don't know, 10 inches. I don't know, 8 inches. It's
Yeah,
freaking.
they're huge. Yeah, we would have those. We'd have coral snakes and rattlesnakes all the time.
Now, did a rattler ever go near your door?
Oh yeah, we had a baby rattler, which those are the worst.
Yeah.
We had a baby rattler probably. It was on our back porch, about 2 feet from our back door, sliding door in Austin. It was not good.
But it's weird that like you have so much of that stuff because the countryside in Austin, it's whoever you talk to, it's real hit or miss. Like one guy has no snakes, nothing. Then across the street, like a scorpion infestation.
Yeah, well, we had lots of scorpions too. When we first moved out there, we probably had we probably had like 4 or 5 rattlesnakes in one season, and then we were like, we got to do something about this. And then we just got 6 feral cats, and the feral cats eat all the mice. And if there's no mice, there's no snakes because the mice eat the snake. And when we got the feral cats, the rattlesnakes were gone.
So they really took care of it. So you never saw a rattler again.
Not after we got the feral cats. And I hate cats, but after we got the feral cats, we didn't have any more rattlesnakes.
But were you scared though? I mean, having kids?
Oh yeah, we were outside in the backyard once, and my dog, it's like a mutt rescue dog, but she starts pointing. She's dead still. She's got one leg up, and she's pointing her nose, and she's growling. And she's over by my daughters, and they're on like a tire swing type thing. And sure enough, like about 2 or 3 feet from my daughters, there's a coral snake right by the tire swing that my dog's pointing at. And I just go out there and, shoot it with the shotgun. But the coral snakes, I mean, they're venomous. They're very venomous, but they're not as like quick bite you and they got the venom in you. They have to like chew on you to make the venom go in you. But yeah, it was kind of hairy sometimes. But when we got those feral cats, they all kind of went away.
Now, did you just leave food outside for the feral cats?
Yeah, when we would get them, you get a feral cat and you cage them for like 3 weeks at your house outside, and you feed them in the cage for like 3 weeks, and then that gives them 3 weeks to like imprint on your house, and then you let them out of the cage, and then as long as you put food back out every other day or so in that same spot that you imprinted them, they'll stay at your house.
How did you learn that?
YouTube.
Because I was like, that's why I asked you, because I'm thinking like, well, if you leave food out for them, then you're going to attract other pests, possums, raccoons, etc. But then if you don't feed them, the cats go. Yeah,
and what you do is you would slowly work, widen the gap of when you're putting food out for them, and they get more hungry, and so they start hunting more, and you get to the point to where they're doing nothing but hunting, and you don't have to feed them anymore because they're eating nothing but mice, and they're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
Do they try to scratch you?
No. The feral cats we had were really nice, and that was very lucky of us because most feral cats are not nice.
Yeah, I know. My buddy had an uncle that lived in Manhattan, and we went to go visit him in this little apartment above like Times Square, and I heard this noise. It sounded like he had like a devil child in a room, and I thought he had locked the kid in a room, and I'm like, hey, sir, and dude, like, what's the noise? He's like, oh, we'll get to it. I haven't seen my uncle for a long time. And like the place is so tiny, but it was probably $1.5 million. I don't know, but it's like right above, Union Station or whatever, and or Grand Central Station. I'm thinking of LA. Yeah. And dude, I kept hearing the noise, and so finally I went and I snuck down the hall and I opened the door, and this cat just came out like a demon and was just clawing the shit out of me. And the guy's like, "Don't open the door," and I'm like, "Why? Why do you have that there? That's like not a snuggle pet." He's like, "Oh yeah, we found her behind a dumpster, but we're just trying to acclimate her." And I'm like, "How long you had her?" He's like, 6 months. I'm like, just let it go. That's not going to work.
It's not going to acclimate, bro.
He needs Edred.
Yeah, he needs Edred, man. That man. We had some crazy roosters too when we lived in Austin as well.
You know, it's funny though. Like, you know, you were on the other side of Austin than I am. I mean, I'm north with Cedar
Yeah.
Park. There's nothing here. Like, I go out and look for scorpions. Like, I want to see them. I have a black light. I cannot find one anywhere. And then I talk to you or other people in Kyle, and they got rattlesnakes. They got everything.
Oh yeah. We'd have scorpions in the house.
Did you have a lot of that?
Yeah, we'd have to have the bug guys come out and spray all the time just to keep them out of the house.
You know what stops scorpions is diatomaceous earth.
Yep. They don't like that stuff. That stops all of the shelled exoskeleton insects.
Now, are your kids okay with moving? I mean, do they miss Texas?
They miss their friends, but they really like our new place because it's out in the country and it's really nice where we live, and it's really close to where we do our homeschooling stuff, and it's really nice. So they're really excited.
So, do they have fire ants in Tennessee?
Yes.
Oh, so they're even there. I saw a map, like the U.S. map of fire ant spread, and I think they originally came on a ship to like Alabama, and they were in the soil from South America, and that's when they were introduced. It was Mississippi or Alabama, like 1930. And then the spread, you know, Texas just can't get rid of them, and they cause like $100 million of electrical shortages in traffic lights. So I guess fire ants like to chew on electrical currents.
The where we lived in Austin, I would have to probably we were on a well, and probably every 3 or 4 months, I would have to go out. Every 3 or 4 months, the well pressure would go to zero, and all of our water would kind of like trickle to nothing. And I knew if it trickled to nothing, it was because of the fire ants, and I would have to go out to our well and I have to take like a little wire brush and clean up all of the electrical connections because all the fire ants would go to the electrical connections, and then they would die because they would get, electrocuted, and they would just keep going, and then they would just pile up, and it would make the electrical connections disconnect. And so you'd have to go in there and clean off all the fire ants to get the electrical connection back, and then our well would come back on. It was super crazy.
Crazy, dude. Like, what is the connection between them and electricity? What do they? And then if we know that, why can't, like, I was looking into, like, Texas A&M had a huge research project to try to get rid of fire ants because, of course, that would be a great thing. And they said that there's no foreseeable way to get rid of them. They've tried everything, frequencies, certain treatments. There's just no way. And they're going out to California, Arizona. They say pretty soon the whole southern, hemisphere of the U.S. will have them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're bad here. They're in our front yard.
Wait, in Tennessee now?
Yeah, I stepped in a huge one when we were moving.
Dude, I got to tell you, that's like one of the biggest quality. I know it's not a big deal. It's an ant. But that's one of the biggest quality of life problems I have is like you're with your kids at a park and then your kids screaming and you think they're dying and then they have, ants on them. And like, I think, oh, ants not a big deal. Dude, those things will rip you up.
Oh, yeah. I remember just getting like the little tiny, like the pus bites and stuff from, ooh, they're awful.
Yeah. Dude, you're moving. So SoCal Playing Card said he's moving to Hawaii. Have you seen the freaking roaches in Hawaii? Like, I thought Texas would have a lot of roaches. Texas roaches are nothing. If you visit your buddy in Hawaii and you stay with them, if you like roaches, that's a good place. But
roaches in Hawaii bad?
Oh, they fly up. Like every woman I knew that had lived in Hawaii said they were in the shower. There was roaches in their hair. I mean, it's a tropical paradise for roaches. I think probably Houston too. I don't know. Hey, someone said, Jackson, congrats on winning Designer of the Year. Where did designers like you hang out? I'm looking for an artist. So
where do they hang out?
You have a solicitation here on Instagram.
We're hanging out right here. This is where I hang out.
We hang out. We drink old granddad. We homeschool kids. We scrape fire ants out of wells. Hey, what is that?
This is the Chattanooga whiskey. It's really good.
Oh, dude. You don't got to tell me about Tennessee's got great stuff. I love Tennessee.
Yeah, this is their rye whiskey. This one's pretty good. They've got another one that I got. Where is that? Can't see because my lights. Dude, this is the one that's good right here.
Wait, you got a whole stash in there?
Oh, yeah, bro.
Well, I got to see this.
Look at this. This is a single barrel. Look at that, 122 proof.
Oh, give it to me.
It's hot, bro. This one is let's see. This one is finished in rum barrels. It's pretty good. Now this one is my favorite. This one's more of like a liqueur, but bro, it's only 76 proof, but it's coffee infused.
Oh,
And it has coffee, citrus peel, and vanilla beans, bro. I could drink this whole bottle in like a week. I'll go through one of these in a week. It's so good.
So this is an actual distiller in Chattanooga?
Yeah, Chattanooga whiskey, right down in Chattanooga.
Did you become
This
buddy?
is their No, this is their rye whiskey. It's really good.
Now, what do you think of Buffalo Trace for bourbon?
I like Buffalo Trace. They make a lot of good stuff.
Have you been to like any of the bourbon tour?
I want to. And now that I live in Tennessee, there's really no reason for me not to go up there. Because I can go see United States Playing Card Company and then go like Buffalo Trace all like in one trip.
Let's go. You and I, let's go, dude. I've been to Buffalo Trace once. I didn't make it to any other place because they were closing. It took so long to get to Buffalo Trace. It was our last tour of the day.
Yeah. Where are they at? They're in. Let
Frankfurt.
me see how far that is from me. Because if they're not too far, you should come and you should stay at my house.
Let's do it.
And we'll go. Frankfurt, Kentucky, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We could probably get the whole clip joint done like just at Buffalo Trace. We could just stay overnight at Buffalo Trace.
4 hours, bro.
That's it. That's nothing.
That's it.
It'd go
That's
by.
it. We can get like 3 clip joints done in 4 hours.
Well, yeah, we're already doing 2 at once. Why not just do 4?
So one of us would have to drive.
I'll drive, dude. I mean, if it's getting you to work with, then yeah, I'll just drive and I'll just suck it up, and then I'll get to your house and I'll just black out for 2 days, and your wife will kick me out. That's how it works.
Funny. That's funny.
You know what, dude? Did you go trick or treating?
No. Mm-mm.
Do you normally do that or no?
We normally do, but we didn't do it this year.
Is it because of COVID stuff?
I think it was. We just moved, and so we were like, ugh. And Scarlett's birthday's on the 1st of November. And so we were unpacking, and we have all the stuff. We were getting all the stuff for Scarlett's birthday. And so we're like, we're going to do Scarlett's birthday instead of the Halloween stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you just moved, it makes sense. I mean, I was like, really, that's like my holiday. I mean, that was my 10-year wedding anniversary was yesterday, and then it was, I love Halloween. I love to take the kids out, and I was thinking, like, how many people are going to be out? So it was interesting to see how people reacted. Like, one dude had, like, those gripper things, those, like, mechanical, what do they call
Yes.
it, hand things?
Yes.
One guy had that, and then he would stay, like, 10 feet away and give it to you. Another guy would put it on a box with a mechanical gripper thing and then push the box out to the kids. And then other people had, like, baggies clothes lined up, all around their front yard. It said, stay back. And then other people, like a lot of these old Texan people were like, oh, come on in, grab the whole bowl. We don't care.
I can't remember what it was. It was a fast food joint. And I don't know what they were thinking, but they had one of those clear plastic, like food bins that you see with food.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm driving through to pay, and the guy reaches out with his bare hands with one of those plastic things, and he has me put my debit card in this food tray. And so I'm like, okay. And so I put my debit card in this food tray. He pulls it back and then just picks my debit card up with his bare hands, swipes it, puts it back in the tray, and gives it to me. But we're like 2 feet apart. I'm like,
What did that
I'm
stop?
touching it, you're touching it. Why do we got to mess with the food tray? Why do we got to mess with the food?
I know. It's the same thing. Do you watch a guy on YouTube named JP Sears? He's got like a red hair, and he's like an ironic comedian, and he lives in Austin, and he does like these videos like everything you see on the news is true. And then like his whole pitch is like, it's, surreal, because he'll be saying, everything you watch in the news is true. and stuff, and it makes you think in a different way.
I feel like I've seen that guy.
Oh, he's funny because he's like, do you want me to put on my oxygen suffocator right now? Because if I suffocate my oxygen, my immune system is going to be working so much better.
And I was just like, I looked at the guy, I was like, why do you have this plastic bin?
Well, what did it stop? I mean, that's like a Chick-fil-A here. Like, they have the bin and they bring your food, and then they do that, and then you take it out of the bin, but like they're up in your window.
Yeah. I don't know.
And I'm not like an anti-mask or nothing, dude. I wear the mask. I go out and do it. But I just don't think that we know what any of this does. Like, my friend's dad got COVID. He never leaves the house. He's super paranoid. He has a mask. He went to out to the grocery store once. He started feeling like super lethargic. He thought he was having a heart attack. He's like 78 because his circulation was bad. He went to the hospital. He's like, I can't feel my arm. But other than that, I feel fine. She's like, oh, you have COVID-19. We got to admit you for observation for 2 days. And he said that he just felt like lethargic and had no circulation for 2 days. And he's 78. I don't know what to believe. I really don't.
Yeah. So how about those cigarette decks that I'm going to send you?
What's that?
I said, how about those cigarette decks I'm going to send you?
The greatest thing ever. But dude, you already know, I went to Japan 20 years ago, and I spent the whole time there just buying cigarettes out of vending machines, collecting the boxes. My now wife, then girlfriend, she's like, what were you doing in Japan? Because I was there for the summer. She's like, did you start smoking? I'm like, no, I wanted the boxes, dude. And I'm not a collector, but for some reason, tobacco does that to me. And Japan had this cigarette company called Wakaba, and it had a bat, and it's like the old military guys. It's like a harsh cigarette. Would smoke it, and I loved their packaging, and I would go to flea markets and try to find old packages and stuff. That's what it does to me. I love old tobacciana. I even like old pipes, old lighters. My grandma gave me an old table lighter.
Yes.
I like
that
the
big ones.
Yeah, I have it in my garage.
Yeah, we're doing all the table players decks next year are going to have that good old cigarette style box that has a little flip top.
But I thought that table players was ending. I think I saw a post that one of the last ones was coming out.
Just the last one for this year, volume 6 for this year.
Okay. My favorite table players, you already know what it is. I don't have it. It's got a blue box, and it's got little gold pinstripes. It's one of the first ones you did.
Yeah, that's the bookmark one that has the blue with the pinstripes.
Yeah, that's an amazing box. It's an amazing box.
Well, thanks.
There's
we're doing
something textural about it. It's like Luis Buñuel, the filmmaker who smoked, a pack a day. He had this quote from the 70s, and he said, if I couldn't open the box and see all of the white little soldiers lined up in a row and light them and see the fire advance toward me, I could quit smoking tomorrow. And it's true. It's like the whole, I don't know, there's something about tobacco that is interesting.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm excited about it. We're doing 12 table players decks here with all those little flip top cigarette boxes.
I did, yeah. And then we're doing cool stuff too.
Oh yeah, we are.
We're doing stuff that's never been seen, never before been done. We're doing secret orders for certain products that no one even could figure out. we are doing stuff that when I told the deck whisperer Dan Buck what we were doing, he said, that's impossible. How would you do that? And then when I told him, he said, shit, Jackson's on another level of ordering shit. I don't know how you do it. I've never heard Dan. Dude, Dan will go see a magic show. We'll go see the craziest shit. I'll be like, how did you do it? And he's like, I didn't know how they did one thing. I'm like, what? One thing? He's like, yeah, I just couldn't figure that out, but I think I know. And you got him stumped, with stuff.
Well, I don't know if it's that's cool, but that's nice.
That's rad, dude. Someone says Jackson's art is what?
What?
You know what, dude? Do you ever go to Memphis? When I know you've been to Memphis, but when you went to Memphis, did you ever ask someone where the best burger was in Memphis?
I'm trying to think. No.
If you ever ask someone in Memphis, they'll tell you this this little place, the bar, and the guy has an old cast iron cooktop behind it. It's been there since the 40s. It's an older black dude was just cooking up awesome burgers, and he was awesome. But then he said upstairs there's a brothel. You know, it's an old brothel that's been there 100 years. And so you would go upstairs and like, you know, most cities would have had like a tour for it. Like I know in San Angelo, they have like a brothel tour.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's Memphis. They're like, y'all can go up there if you want. You're turning the corners like you're going to get shot at and stuff. And that's Memphis is just a trippy place. Like Tennessee has a lot of cool old places.
Yeah. I remember I had this, when I was in Texas, when I lived in North Dallas, this was before playing cards, but across the street from where I worked, there was this barbecue joint, and it was this old black guy. I mean, he was probably 70, 75. He was skinny as a rail. And what was his name? His name was, I can't remember what his name was, but his barbecue joint was called That's Good Q.
Where's that at?
It's in Louisville, Texas. And, well, I don't know if it's still there or not, but it was there when I was there. And he had the quintessential, you know, Coca-Cola fountain, you know, soft drink fountain with like 8 different fountains. He had his Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, and his water. And then he had this one that was out of order, always out of order. And one day I go into Dad's Good Q, and we got to know him really well. And he was like, go up to the he said, get the out of order drink. And so I go up there and I push it. This bro was making like apple moonshine.
What? And he had an out of order one?
And he had his apple moonshine come out of this out of order fountain in this barbecue joint.
But he would only tell you if like you were in the know.
Exactly. So like, he wouldn't charge us for it. He wouldn't pay. I mean, totally not legal. But he would go like, try the out of order, and like he would say, try the out of order today. And he would like make different types of like moons, like flavored moonshine. It was so good. We'd get our ribs and our Dad's Good Q and our out of order.
What year was it?
I mean, this was 2006, 2007.
Where is Louisville though?
It's North Dallas between it's like north of Irving, west of like Plano.
I'm gonna look it up, man.
Dad's Good Q. I don't even know if they're still around. They may or may not.
Look it up, man. I want to go. I'm gonna be in Fort Worth this week.
Dad's Good. Looks like they are, dude. Let's see. Definitely don't have a website. Oh, it says permanently closed.
I wonder when they went though.
I don't think they went anywhere. Let's see. I don't think they're around anymore. That's so sad. Dad's Good Q was so good.
You know, it's funny. It's like my buddy Kevin Bledsoe, who now has like a show on Netflix. We used to go to his original barbecue place. Oh, is that him?
That's his son.
Yeah, because I was gonna say that guy's not 70.
No, that's the guy's son.
So where is that guy though? He's got to have a place.
Maybe. Let me see. Do a little more digging while you talk.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and look up
very
Good Q.
Very important information.
It is important information, man. It's like
his name was Randy. The owner was Randy.
I love spots like that. We used to go to Bledsoe's Barbecue in Compton, and Kevin's granny would show up from Texas, from Corsicana, and she was like 85, and she would smoke a joint in the parking lot, and she had just driven her Cadillac nonstop from Corsicana to Compton, and she would smoke a joint and then say, Kevin, get me some Hennessy. And he'd go in the back and pour Hennessy, and I'd be like, how old is Granny, Kevin? He'd be like, oh, she's 86. That's what keeps her young, is that weed and Hennessy. I don't know, these barbecue places know what's up. People say barbecue's bad for you, too. I mean, obviously it's not now that we're learning this.
Oh, yeah.
No, dude, there's no glaucoma with Granny for sure.
I don't know. I think it may be still around. Here's the logo.
Oh, I got to see the logo. It's going to be like clip art. What the heck? It's like, is that like a chef's hat or like a fez?
something like that. But that was the guy. That was the owner, and that was the big thing on the front. Bro, it was so good.
Now, did he do pork ribs or beef ribs?
He did both pork and he did like chopped brisket, like everybody does in Austin.
Now in Austin, you only used to go to what was it called?
Well, I only cooked I never went to eat any barbecue in Austin.
No, dude. There was one barbecue place that you went to. It was kind of like an old school place, and it was the only place in Austin you would go to.
Oh, it's the
Not Style Switch.
it was Style Switch.
Styles and Switch just opened a second location a block away from me here.
Yeah, Style Switch is good.
It's great.
I wouldn't. My wife wouldn't let me go eat barbecue because I always get mad because I cook pretty good barbecue.
I know. I've quizzed you.
And she was like, "Why didn't you just spend the same amount of money and cook like a whole brisket yourself, and you have the whole brisket?"
I did a brisket 2 weeks ago. I woke up at 3 a.m. and then did it, and I think I got a prime brisket at HEB. That's what I love about Texas. It was 17-pound prime brisket for $42 at HEB.
Oh, bro, that's a religion. That was a religion to me when I was in Texas. I would brine it the night before the brisket.
Oh, you
and
brine
then
brisket?
Oh yeah, salt water, bro. It was so good. I'd brine it, and then I'd also buy a 24 rack of Lone Star the day before.
And then you said you would just do one, and then when it was done, it was over.
I'd get up at 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning. I'd start drinking the 24 rack of Lone Star. And by the time I was done drinking the 24 rack at about 6 or 7, the brisket was done, and it was perfect.
Dude, that was the biggest disappointment about moving here. That was the biggest disappointment was that you left right when I came.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay, Henry's
I'm
asking
probably.
I
I think I may be coming back. Like maybe in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, yeah. Let me know. Let me know the day. I clear it out.
I may need
to know how close am I to San Antonio. San Antonio is 1.5 hours from me. I love San Antonio. Did you ever go there, Jackson?
Oh yeah, because Kyle's like 30 minutes from San Antonio.
I know, dude. I love San Antonio. I like puffy tacos. You ever go to Puffy's?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a one family, the Lopez family, invented the puffy, and they own the actual trademark to puffy taco. And John Lopez was in Whittier, California, in LA, and I grew up going to his. And he was like, his dad had moved from San Antonio to LA in the 70s to start like a puffy empire in California. And then the rest of the Lopez are still back in San Antonio. So it's like a whole family. There's Henry's, Ray's, and then Arturo's is in California.
I'm going to walk and get something while you're talking. I wanted to show you something.
Wait, is there sourdough?
No, I don't have any sourdough. Well, it's in the kitchen.
So wait, is everyone asleep?
Yeah, heck yeah.
And they can't hear you like in your room, like you've got your little cave.
No, I'm in the basement, bro.
Wait, you have a basement?
Yeah, and you can only get to the basement through the garage, so I don't even go through the house. It's amazing.
Dude, so wait. You actually have a real basement. I haven't seen a basement since I was a kid.
Yeah. Like here's my garage. And then here's the door in my garage to my basement.
Oh my God. Is this custom built or was this already?
No, it was I didn't custom build it, but somebody else did.
Oh, Mi Tierra. Hey, that's rad, Henry. You should come out here and visit. Let's go. Mi Tierra is in like the old little section of San Antonio I like. Hey, thank you, Aaron's.
Anyways, I want to show you this. Let me turn my camera around here. It's new tigers.
That is beautiful. Look at that purple on it.
It's actually red, white, and blue.
It looks purple though. It's not purple. I always thought it was violet.
Oh, the side is violet. Violet is turning violet. Violet is turning violet.
When do those?
You're gonna like the inside. You're gonna like the insides though. see here.
So someone's asking if King's Wild's business moved. King's Wild went out of business actually. That's why Jackson's talking to us, is that he's unemployed right now. And he's
I'm trying to get a job with Fulton, 8th Clip Joint.
Yeah. the pay is low, but the bourbon's good. Hey, did the first one have that? I don't have an original one.
No, they didn't have this red, white, and blue with the blue stars.
Now, did Clove do your box, the tuck again?
Yes, Clove printed these boxes.
Looks great, man.
Are these
what was your inspiration for Tigers?
Old matchboxes. And also the Tigers 101. Because that's my variation of the Tigers 101 Joker.
Wasn't that the old was it Russell?
Yeah, old Russell Morgan. This one, it was kind of like this, but a different Tiger.
It always reminded me of, for some reason, when I saw the Tigers deck, it reminded me of the Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
Remember the show? What's the guy's name? Jack something, the coach?
Who? What?
What's the coach? Jack Warden, the coach of the Bad News Bears, the actor?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of the bald, blondish, kind of white hair.
Yeah. I can't remember what his name was.
Jack.
I think you're right. But these, dude. Yeah, these USB-C. I'll show you one of the court cards. These are the new court cards for these guys. Let me find one.
Whoa. What's the deal with that, dude?
It's the Tigers.
That is freaking rad.
So there's that one.
Is that the same? Is that the same one as the first court card?
No, they were standard with human heads. And then all the aces have something special, like this is the ace of diamonds. It says stay sharp.
Oh, I love that.
Here's the jack.
When do those come out?
Thursday.
Is that like a subscription thing or just general release?
General release.
Are you doing now? Is the Robin Hood gone?
Those gilded ones, the standard Robin Hood's not gone.
Now, do you base the Tigers on anything like real life, or are you just looking at like for inspiration?
I'm definitely looking at reference. Always looking at reference. But they feel good too.
Did you use a fresh stock?
Yeah, these aren't crushed stock, but they are traditionally cut. Here's the ace of clubs. It says strike true.
Are you a big stock guy?
If I'm printing with the United States Playing Card Company, I'm either using just their classic stock or the premium crushed stock.
Have you ever printed a deck like Tiger V1 and then tried to replicate the exact feel of the V1 on a V2, and it's almost impossible to do?
Yeah, a little bit. But these are actually, these feel better than, that's a little,
What's the trompe l'oeil? You got the,
yeah.
I think you can grab
This card is for the matchbox that we have. So when you open the matchbox, this is the card that's on the top. So it looks like it's full of matches.
Do you have, did you make a matchbox for Tigers though?
Yeah. The new ones, I did for the old ones, and I have a new one. I can show you the pictures. And then I've got that Thessalonians verse right here.
It looks like its typography is different on that though.
Yeah, it's like different like sizes and stuff.
Now, who said that quote in the Bible?
Well, it was in Timothy, so it was Timothy, I think.
Now, do you still have to pay his family royalties for using that quote?
Slightly. It's shekels. I have to pay them in shekels.
Yeah, it's like you know what I see now is I see this handbag all the time that says, all I need is a little bit of coffee and a whole lot of Jesus. And I always think about, like, where do the royalty checks go? I mean, Jesus is probably the most valuable person that ever lived. I mean, where's the
Oh, yeah. These feel really good. I'll have to show you the box, the match box.
Hey, who did were your matches done in the USA?
I don't have matches. It says strike once, strike true. You can't focus, but that's what it says.
It looks awesome, man. I always like that.
I've wanted to make some actual matches, but they're kind of finicky about shipping matches in the mail.
Oh, really?
I mean, at least that's what I remember the last time I tried to do it. Maybe it's not like that anymore.
I know that like the Bucks and I were doing matches like 10 years ago for something, and I forget why we didn't do it. It was something with shipping or quantity. I forget. It was like some insane quantity for wooden matches.
So this is the original first version of the Matchbox, and this is the new Matchbox.
And is that really violet, or is that like a blue and my color's off?
It's a blue, and my monitor's color is off, and your monitor's color is off.
Yeah, I love them, dude.
And here's the back.
I love the ribbon. That's kind of like the old awards you'd get at the fair.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did you grow up going to fairs?
Oh, bro, I showed livestock in fairs.
Were you an FFA guy?
No, I was in 4-H.
What's the difference between 4-H and FFA?
FFA was usually with a school district, and 4-H was not with a school. I don't know if that makes sense.
Did you ever think about opening up a retail store in Chattanooga?
Hey, where?
Chattanooga.
Yeah, I may still do that.
Now, what do you think the reaction would be, though? Would the locals say, like, what the hell do you mean, a custom playing card company? Because, you know, it's not like L.A., Austin, or New York. It's more of a probably... No,
I think that they would like it. I mean, everybody that I've met when I start talking about what I do, they're very receptive. I think it would be cool.
Now, when you talk to someone and you say, I design playing cards, what's the first reaction?
Really? Playing cards?
Exactly.
That's it. I emailed the Bucks one time. This was pretty recently, within the past year, and I wanted to talk to them about like opening up or collaborating with them to like carry their art of play products, like their toys and stuff, in Chattanooga, because I figured that they weren't going to try to make a move to Chattanooga.
No way.
And I was like, hey, I would like to open up a little card shop that sells all my cards plus all the stuff that you guys, and they're like, no, we don't want to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wonder why, though.
I don't know. I thought it would be pretty cool, and I would just buy all the stuff from them.
I mean, maybe it's like they wanted to like control the look of the display of their curated puzzle or something.
Yeah, but the thing about it is I can just go reverse engineer all their products and just go find them. You know.
That'd be a cool thing, though. I
think it would be. Here's the original Tigers Matchbox with the sandpaper.
Oh, I like that.
That's the one that I had to cut that with the bandsaw. It was rough.
So wait, this is just a one-of-one that you made?
No, this is like the size of the standard edition. And then the standard, the one of these decks fits inside this box, and this is just the first edition. I made 1,000.
I love that box. I want that box.
And then we're making 1,000 of the new one, of this one, but they're not going to come out this year because we're still making them.
Man, I'm hyped up though. I think you should do a shop in Chattanooga.
I want to.
You know what? It's like nowadays things are kind of going to go back to being local, regional. I mean, why not give Chattanooga a store?
I think so too. Maybe you could put in a word for me with the Twins and get some of their products.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But it's like rent's got to be real cheap in Chattanooga too. For like probably a cool. Do they have like an old town, like a little main street?
Oh yeah. Yep.
That's where I would go right there. And you know what you got to do? You got to do coffee. You got to do King's Wild Coffee.
I'm going to do a coffee. There's an actual a building that we're looking at that's pretty close to where I live now. It's like 5 miles down the road from where I live now. This building that we're looking at to like buy and make our new HQ, it's like on a main thoroughfare highway where everybody commutes into Chattanooga, and we're totally going to put a King's Wild coffee truck in the parking lot so people can like go to work and then pull off and then just get King's Wild coffee.
You know what? I gotta remember the name of it and send it to you. There's a small like gateway to the Smoky Mountains town, and there's a couple that have a bakery, and they bought this old bank. It was an old bank with a vault, like in this old kind of like, it's not a broke down town. It's just kind of like the industry's gone, you know.
Yeah.
It just was kind of a nothing town. And they bought the building for like $80K or something with the bank vault, and they put their bakery in there. They're both bakers, the husband and wife, and they live above it. And the husband takes like Mondays, the wife takes Tuesdays, you know, because they got to wake up in the night to make it. And the lines they have, like during season, of people going to visit the Smokies, they do like wood-fired pizza, they do wood-fired bread, they do all sorts of kind of bread. And it's like, you know, you look at the numbers, you're like, oh, they can't really be doing business. No one lives in this town. But it's not true. It's like a destination spot for everyone that comes into that area.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's how Franklin Barbecue got started. He had a barbecue trailer, like a Windstream or something.
Yep. It was his friend had a coffee shop on 35, like in an old Shell parking lot, or maybe it was Gulf. Maybe it was a Gulf station on the side there. And then he set it up there. His friend didn't charge him rent. It was like one of those Can-Ham trailer kind of things.
Yes.
And he said that the first day he bought one brisket, I think it sold out. He thought that he had like been rich because he was so poor, you know, like he never had money. And then look at him now.
Yeah.
You've never been there though, right?
I never have, but I love those stories though.
His book, like, I mean,
that's the Bible. That's how I learned to cook brisket.
But the first like 30 pages, like I still reread it. I actually have it on my coffee table because his story is so awesome about like, you know, cleaning wasps' nests out of trailers because he had no money. I mean, a true do-it-yourself guy. This is no trust fund dude. I mean, it's all him.
I like it. I like that stuff.
So what else are you going to do this week?
Well, I'm going to get my stuff back up and running. And I'm going to design 2 or 3 table players decks for next year, trying to finish those all out for the next couple of weeks.
And then we got stuff going on.
Oh, we do have stuff going on. That's for sure.
We got a lot of stuff going on.
I gotta get started on that stuff too. Get back on that stuff.
See, it was like it's the worst thing ever. You know, we started on it, and then you went away, and you disappeared, and then I felt like I was out in the cold, and I was lonely, and I didn't have any moonshine.
It's like a week or two ago.
I know, but I get lonely without apple moonshine. When I don't have That's Good Q and moonshine, I feel like people are betraying me. You know, I get a little paranoid.
Ooh, that's funny.
But I'm coming out there, dude. I'm coming out to stay.
Dude, you should totally come out here. It would be so much fun. We could make some sweet behind the scenes banter footage.
Oh, absolutely, dude. But now after seeing your basement, I don't know why I'm here. There's no basements anywhere around here.
Oh, well, the reason we have a basement is because a lot of people have basements here because it's so hilly and everybody is like on the side of the hill. And so everybody has like a walkout basement. You know?
What about snow though? Is it going to snow there a lot?
No. It snowed here a little bit last year, but they say that Tennessee is like the farthest south you can go and still have seasons.
Yeah. Because
in Austin you really don't have seasons. You have melting hot, and then it's nice for like a week in the fall, and then it's cold and wet, and then it's hot again.
You know what though? The heat in Austin is overrated. Like I was preparing for like a lot of heat. It's only hot in July and August for a bit. Cause I go out like every day in the afternoon and skate with the kids and go out, and like July and August, a few weeks, you're like, damn, this is hot. This is 104. This is humid. The rest of the summer, it's not that bad.
I don't know. I feel like that this year was a pretty mild summer all around. I remember I remember there were two or three summers specifically in Austin. I remember that unless you were in the water, we didn't go outside from like May until mid-September.
I'm still out until mid-July. Like I have a rule at my house that when you complain about the heat, it only gets hotter. So I've taught my kids that the more you complain about heat, the hotter it gets. So you just have to deal with it.
Yeah, I like that.
That's just,
I like that.
that's the way it is. It's like I can't let it stop me doing stuff. Of course, you're not going to be able to last as long. Like, you go outside in the winter, you can be out for 2-3 hours doing an activity, but in the summer you're going to be shortened. But you can't be bummed out about it.
No, I like it. I like it. That's good. It's good.
And it's like people always say California, like, oh, California, they have this idea that it's 75 all year round. On one sliver, yes, you have some great weather. But like even in Anaheim, which is not even that far inland.
Oh, yeah.
It's 100 degrees. It's 95 all summer long. Santa Ana's hot as hell. You go downtown LA all the time. It's 95, 100, the concrete. It's hot.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to live in that little tiny sliver that was really nice all the time.
Oh, by Westchester area?
Yeah, on the west side. The west side.
Yeah, the west side. It's I mean, I lived like 7 miles from Newport Beach, like 7 miles in. And even there, like the weather was nice most of the time. I'm not going to BS. But it's been getting hotter. The last 5 years, it's hotter in the summer.
Yeah, it's global warming.
Yeah, it's something. Maybe it's Andrew Jackson's ghost farting. I don't know.
And his little corset waist.
Yeah, he's you know what it reminded me of is when I went to the Tim Burton exhibit. They had the Edward Scissorhands costume, like the actual one Johnny Depp was in, and it was the exact same body as Andrew Jackson, the exact same waist. I just don't know how you get that small.
That's crazy.
Okay, Northern California average is 65. Yeah, Northern California. See, people always say like California is so beautiful too. Okay, here's the deal. Southern California, you're on the coast. Yes, it's all great. You leave that coast, it's hideous. It's flat. Like when you get the mountains, it's nice, but it's just desert. It's not like picturesque in a lot of places. But Northern California to me is where you get the real beauty. Like when you get to San Luis Obispo and you have the redwoods and you have the hills and the beach. And that, yeah, I mean, no one says it's beautiful when you're driving through like the Grapevine. You ever driven the Grapevine on the 5 and you go by Los Baños and stuff?
Yes.
It looks like
or you're going to like Las Vegas.
Yeah, dude. It's like that's what a lot of it looks like, and it's also, I mean, I don't know. Everywhere is beautiful. Like people say Texas is ugly, and you go to Hill Country, you go to Austin. Fort Worth is an amazing city, dude. Like there's a lot of beautiful places.
I remember the only thing I liked about Death Valley, going through Death Valley, is just you could drive so fast.
Oh, yeah, but there's probably California Highway Patrol out there.
Yeah.
5 feet. San Diego is heaven. Yeah, I grew up in San Diego. I know all about San Diego. I wouldn't say it's heaven. I would not say it's heaven. I say it used to be heaven in the 80s and the early 90s. Now, if you came from Iowa or Illinois and moved to San Diego, it's heaven, because everyone that loves like San Diego, they're like, oh, dude, it's so rad. I was surfing today. And I'm like, Illinois, Iowa, or Indiana. Where are you from? Oh, how do you know? Yeah, I just came from Indiana like 2 years ago. And they got like the Big Sur hat.
Yes.
California gets those Midwest dudes who become instant surfer. I don't know. It's funny.
Yes, the Big Sur hats. I remember those guys.
Well, yeah, it's like the same thing. I had a friend in Texas before I moved here, and I used to visit him. And then he had a buddy who was from California, but he became a wannabe Texan. So he started to kind of talk like a Texan. And so I'm like, hey, Mike, are you from Texas? And he's like, no, I'm not. And then my friend's like, dude, like you grew up with me in Orange County. Like, what do you mean? And he became like a wannabe. There's like a whole crew of wannabe Texans too.
They're called kickers.
What are they called?
Kickers.
Really? That's a term for them?
Yeah, it's like a drugstore cowboy. Kicker.
Drugstore cowboy. That's a great term. That was a Gus Van Sant movie.
Yeah, that's what it means. It means like a fake cowboy.
Yeah, like my neighbor does physical therapy, and he was telling me that like he's an old school Texan, and he was telling me that he does physical therapy on these guys that talk about how they're rodeo guys. And he says, yeah, they'll be saying like, yeah, they have all these like one-liners like, yeah, we're not even fighting men, we're fighting animals, you know, and we're on real bulls, and I'm on a bucking bronco, and he's like, look, dude, I don't believe you've ever even done a rodeo, you know, because the
Yes.
old school rodeo guys never talked about like how rough they were.
Oh no, no. And they never go to the doctor either.
No way, they would never be a physical therapist. That's a great point. What now?
No.
So the word kicker means someone who comes from somewhere else and then they become a cowboy, like like midnight cowboy.
Like that, or like someone that like dresses up like a cowboy and
Yeah.
does no like ranch hand work.
You know what, dude? The ranch hand guys do not look like Stetson ads. They all wear cowboy boots with kind of the rubber sole, like the
Yep.
construction sole.
Yeah,
And
because they're actually working and they have to work.
yeah, dude, they are not like exotic skin boots. These are like rubber soled cowboy boots. They have the cowboy step, but they're rubber sole. Wranglers are ripped to hell, and they always have like a neon kind of
Yep.
t-shirt on because they work for a construction company.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And if they are dressing up and they're wearing a cowboy hat, they're probably wearing one of those really big palm leaf taco hats.
Yes, absolutely. Or like if you look at Stetson, like if you follow Stetson on Instagram and you look at their thing, they interview like all these guys that are like, you know, kickers, as you would say, and they all have like, they're like a small dude with a giant like taco, like a sombrero almost, like a modified sombrero to show how cowboy they are while they sit in their air-conditioned house in Austin. You know, it's funny, dude. I'm always fascinated by like, because I grew up skateboarding, so the word was poser. You know, I was always like interested in posers and what made someone a poser or authentic. So now I know a new word thanks to you, kicker.
Yep, kicker. Yep, kicker.
So is that a word? Is that a word Texans use frequently? Like two Texans together will say like, "Look at them kickers at the rodeo."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at those kickers.
Absolutely best, man.
Oh yeah, the kickers. What else would they say? They would yeah, the kickers. They never said drugstore cowboy, but they would always be the kickers.
You remember in Midnight Cowboy, the guy Joe Buck, he says, "I ain't a for real cowboy, but I am one hell of a stud." That was the line in Midnight Cowboy.
That's funny.
Someone said in East Texas, kicker is short for shit kickers.
Yeah, but that's different. A shit kicker is that's something different. Or at least where I grew up, that was something different.
Shit kickers,
Yeah.
what I've always heard, and the term, and even in California, they would say, oh, there was a bunch of shit kickers. It was kind of like redneck, tobacco chewing guys. That would be like, they were the shit kickers. They were kind of like hicks was the word for it.
Yeah, that's kind of what it meant. But yeah, definitely the kickers. There were lots of kickers, but there were also lots of real cowboys too when we grew up. And then you had everybody else that wasn't either one of those. But there were the cattle like the feedlot cowboys, and then like the range cowboys.
The range cowboys are no one to mess with.
No. And then you'd have like the farmer, the agricultural cowboys. Like my family are all like from like the agricultural cowboys.
Yeah, it's like I was reading a book actually, like, so you know I like Western history, so I was reading a book about the cattle drives, and they were just talking about the origin of calf fries, and you know, castrating the bull right there, and then you know, right after cleaning the membrane off, they were throwing it in a pan right next to the bull. You know,
Oh yeah.
the guy who wrote the book was a chuck wagon cook, and he said I always wanted to be one of them, but to be honest, I felt nauseous. You know, like that these guys were that savage. You know, he wanted to be one, but he said very few were.
Yeah, no, they do that all the time for sure.
Have you ever had calf fries?
Yes, I've had and also bison as well.
What's it like?
It's like squid.
Oh, it's got that texture?
For me, it was kind of like that.
See, that's funny. You know, actually, Dan Buck and I in 2007 were in a motel in Wyoming, outside of Cheyenne.
Okay, that's definitely a place to be.
No, this is a great story, dude. We pulled up at the producer of this trip we were on was in his Prius, and he was calling all these different hotels.
Yeah.
He's calling a million different hotels, and they were all booked in the middle of Wyoming. And he's like, what the hell's going on? We can't get a motel in Wyoming. And he's booking them. And finally, this one old hotel lady's like, I got one room. Get down here right now if you want it. And he's like, okay. So we went over there, and she booked us in. And I said, excuse me, ma'am, why is it so crowded? And she said, are you an idiot? It's Frontier Days. Only the world's largest rodeo meetup in the United States. And I said, okay. And she straight up said, are you an idiot? You know, and Dan and I stood there like, okay, you know, we're not going to be doing anything here. And we got our room, and then there was a liquor store next door, and we walked over to it, and they were closed because they were doing some Frontier Day stuff. So we went to this cowboy bar, which was in the back of this place, in the back of this motel. And I was, you know, photographing and stuff, and this cowboy must have been about 6'5", and he had boots on. And he gets up from his table, and he just walks over real slow, staring at me. And he puts his hands on the table, and he says, no pictures, please. And I said, yes, sir, it's going away right now. And I put the camera, you know, under my bag. And he said, I don't like being photographed like that. And I said, okay, dude, rodeo days, you got it, buddy. Take care. And they had a sign, calf fries and a beer, $5.99. And I said to Dan, I'm like, dude, let's get some calf fries. And Dan's like, well, if you order them, I'll try them. You know? And so we ordered the calf fries, and we were sitting here waiting, and then finally the girl came back 20 minutes later, and she said they were out of stock. So the Cowboys were just eating a lot of nuts in that place.
So I got a good story for you about Cowboys. When I was in high school, there were the different types of groups of people where I grew up. There were the like working Cowboys, the kickers. Then there were like you could call them like the jocks, and then you would have like the Hispanic Cowboys,
like the vaqueros.
They weren't really the vaqueros. They were just like the Hispanic cowboy population type thing, but they kind of were with the Cowboys. And I guess I was in like the city folk jock one, because I wasn't working on a cowboy. I mean, I wasn't working on a ranch or anything, but I was totally friends with all of those guys because I wasn't like trying to be a poser or a kicker.
Yeah.
And I was in this club called the Technology Club. At the time it was the conglomerate of auto tech, wood shop, metal shop. And so all those classes in high school. And it's funny, me and a guy named John Sellers, and John Sellers is now the guy that owns that oil company that's worth billions of dollars.
Wow.
Him and I were running against each other for president of the Technology Club. And this is this is senior year in high school. And John he came from a ranching family, so he was kind of like the ranching cowboy. And I go up to John and say, hey, John, listen, I'd like to, at the time I was trying to get it like in West Point, and I needed to get some things on my record to say I was a president or whatever. And so I said, hey, I'd like to be the president of this. What I got to do to get you to not run against me so I can get president? And so we made a deal. The deal is if I became president of the Technology Club, I'd take all the dues for the club, and I'd buy a big Jambox CD player for the room, and then I'd take the rest of the money and I'd buy logs of Copenhagen for everybody in the club.
Oh, wow. The chew?
Yeah, like the snuff, Copenhagen.
Everyone was doing snuff in high school?
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen someone chew that.
What?
I've never seen someone chew it in real life.
They wouldn't chew it, they dip it.
Yeah, dip it. I've never seen real dippers.
Are you serious?
Never.
There were more people that dipped than didn't dip when I went to high school.
Wow, you did that?
No, I didn't do that. I'd get sick. But so anyways, John's like, deal. We shook hands, he got out of the running, and I won president, and we got a jam box, and I bought Copenhagen logs for everybody.
But you did it. You did it.
Yeah, heck yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
So were you kind of emasculated? Was he like, or like, you know, having to negotiate with it, or do you really want to go head to head and run? Or you didn't care. You wanted on your list.
He played football. I played football, and he was totally my friend. He was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I don't care. I'll take the skull. I mean, I'll take the Copenhagen.
But then why did you want to go to West Point?
Well, at the time, I wanted to go to a military academy, but I ended up not being able to because of my lungs, so it didn't really matter.
Oh, they like did a physical, and then because you had one lung, you can't get in?
No, it was an automatic disqualification. I didn't know it at the time.
That's
so
like
it was
my
like,
grandpa was in the Air Force, and then they disqualified him because he had a bleeding ulcer and a problem with it. And even to his dying day, he said it was the greatest failure of his entire life not to be able to fly in World War II. You'd never heard someone saying that today. He thought about it until he was 85. I mean, he said, I wish I never had that ulcer.
wow. Yeah. And at the time, but then after that, you know what? That was like when I was a sophomore in high school. So I was like 16.
And look at that, dude. So when you were negotiating back then, who knew that you would be doing a playing card deck 20-something years later? I mean, that's crazy.
For that guy.
That's crazy, though, to think about that. What if someone would have came from the future and showed you a King's Wild deck and said, this is what you're going to spend your life doing?
I would laugh at them.
I know.
And my buddy John and I, when I went and saw him, you know, a few months ago when we were starting to do those, when I was starting to work on their deck, and we were told, John and Cody, the two guys that we were all football players together, we were laughing about that very story about me winning that presidency with the Copenhagen log and the jam box.
So you got control of like the cash box for the funds, and then was the teacher? Did they get to say anything on it? Did they know that you had bought the Copenhagen?
I put the jam box in his room and passed out the Copenhagen in his class.
You know what though, dude? You're a good guy. That's what we learned. You know what though? It means a lot when you can see someone who still can like talk to someone from high school, because usually those relationships are gone.
Yeah, and that he's like they're some of the few people that I do still kind of, and this was supposed to be our 20-year anniversary, our 20-year high school reunion, but the whole COVID stuff made us not be able to do it. Hopefully do it next year, so that'd be fun.
Were you going to do it?
Hopefully next year we do it.
But I mean, were you planning on going? It's something.
Oh heck yeah.
Not me.
It's a blast.
Not me. I wouldn't go back.
Well, I would. And the cool thing about it is all the people that want to go back are all the people that were friends. And so it was, I mean, when we had our 10-year anniversary, it was a blast.
Yeah, my wife was going to go to hers, and then she ended up not going. I don't know what's wrong with us. Maybe we're just like California fake kind of people. I don't know. No, you know what? I probably would go to like my high school. Maybe I would. Like if I lived near my high school still, I'd probably go. I don't know. It's interesting to see.
It is interesting to see. But I was kind of bummed that we weren't going to do it when I found out they delayed. I mean, they postponed it.
But have you seen Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion?
Is that a movie?
Yeah, Romeo and Michelle. You've never seen this from the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's one of the greatest movies ever, dude. I love this movie. I have it on Laserdisc. It's about like going back to your high school and find out what happened, and they felt like failure, so they lied and said that they had invented Post-it notes. So they went back and told everyone that they had invented Post-it notes so they could seem famous at their reunion.
I feel like that I have seen that.
Okay, Obed, no, I would never go to the Valley High reunion because I did not like going to Valley High, and I left as soon as I could, and I dropped out of Valley High. And I drove my Honda Civic out to the Jack in the Box, and I called my mother at her job at the home savings bank that used to be robbed all the time on the 5 freeway. And I said, Mom, I just dropped out of high school. I'm never going back. I'm going home. And she said, no, you can't. If you don't finish high school, you'll never do anything with your life. It was like this big drama thing. So no, I wouldn't go to Valley. I would go to Rancho Buena Vista High School, my high school from 9th to 11th grade in Vista, California. Valley High School was so ghetto, dude. The first day I pulled up there, they're like, what's that on your shirt? I'm like, oh, I think it's like a Nautica logo. I got the shirt at Ross. They're like, flip it inside out. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, it could be gang related. Okay, it's like a not, dude, look at me. Like, do I look like I'm, banging here? And we went to the first class and they handed out books that I had read in 6th grade. And all the kids in the class were saying, how are we ever going to get through this book? Like, how are we have to do a real book report on this. And this was senior year of high school. And I'm like, okay, dude, I got to get like a 0 period, in here and do like what they call a teacher's aide or a library aide. And so the lady, Mrs. Cook, who was awesome, she said, hey, early in the morning, can you get here and can you go in there and pull out the boxes of teachers' books for them? And I said, yeah, sure. She said, I'm just warning you, it's kind of scary. I'm like, okay, why? And so we flipped on the light and the whole room ran. It was like 1,000 roaches in this room, and you had to shake the boxes to get the roaches out before you could give the teachers their book things. And I got a 0 period out of it. And I'm like, dude, I'm done. I'm done with this place. It's over.
Oof.
Yeah, so no, Obed, I will not be going to the Valley reunion. But hey, RBV, my high school in Vista, we were the Longhorns. The RBV Longhorns, and I was in the DECA club, which was the business club. But I refused to pay the dues and join, but I was in DECA. So I would go to the meets, but I didn't want to pay because I thought it was ridiculous to pay to be in a school club. So I was in DECA, but I would never pay. I was not. Because
you didn't have a president that was going to buy you a jam box in Copenhagen.
Dude, if I would have dipped or had snuff, I would have totally joined and just got
You totally would have. I would have upsold you, won the presidency, and got you in the club.
We would have been a great team, though. And
we would have.
I was such a great student store manager that when I used to stock the student store, I used to accidentally kneel on a bag of Fritos, and then I used to say they were damaged, and I used to damage them out and then put it in my backpack.
The old damaged out product.
And then one time they had me in there with this Hungarian kid named Arnold Sabo, who was awesome. And we had locked the doors, and then I found a fire extinguisher, and we had a dummy in there that we used to dress up with like our school shirt, like so you could buy like a T-shirt or something. So
yeah.
We had this dummy in there, and so I said to Arnold, I'm like, hey, dude, I'm gonna shoot the dummy with the fire extinguisher. I always want to see what comes out. And he's like, no, you can't. We're going to get arrested in here. And I'm like, yeah, fuck it. And so I shot this dummy with this fire extinguisher all over, and then Arnie's like freaking out, and then I shot Arnie with the fire extinguisher stuff, and he was coughing and he thought he was gonna die. That's like my memory of high school.
Oh man, that sounds awesome.
Hey, thanks, Brent. Brent at Magic Apple. Does Magic Apple carry Kings Wild?
Probably not. I don't wholesale anybody.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Never mind, Brent. Jackson doesn't do cards anymore. He does Copenhagen.
Like we talked about before, Kings Wild went out of business.
Kings Wild is gone, dude. It was an old company.
I'm now working for Ace Fulton.
He's working for Ace Fulton. Ace Fulton doesn't pay well, but he's a nice guy. You get free steaks, but you can't feed your kids.
Dude, speaking of Hungarian, I had this roommate in college. It's probably my sophomore year in college. Dude, this was a great story. His name was Attila.
Oh, like Attila the Hun?
Totally like Attila the Hun. He was this big, like I would say big Hungarian devil. He was a big Hungarian guy. He looked like he was like maybe 7 years ago, like on the Hungarian Olympic weightlifting team.
Like the European strongmen?
Oh, yeah. He had like the hairiest legs I have ever seen. And I was a sophomore in college. And so I'm what, 20 years old?
Yeah.
This guy was my roommate. I went potluck roommate one semester, and I got this guy as my roommate. He was 44 years old.
Wait. Why was he 44 in college here?
Exactly. He comes over from Hungary, and I start talking to him and find out, what his story is. He evidently worked, how like in the Mediterranean in Europe they have like those river cruises.
Yeah.
So he worked on a river cruise line in Europe, and he met this woman that was like a 50-year-old woman that was from Dallas. Met her on the cruise line, and they started a fling. And I know what happened. The woman's like, "Oh, I'll never see this guy again. I'll have fun with him, blah, blah, blah." Attila doesn't think so. And so Attila comes to the States following this lady, and they start having whatever they're doing, an affair or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. They start doing their thing when he comes to, and the only way he could get to the States and get a green card was to like go to school. And so I'm this guy's roommate, and it's like one of those big single room dorms, two twin size beds.
But why does he have a roommate? Why doesn't he live with the woman?
Because the woman's married.
Oh, I see.
The plot thickens. Anyways, so, and every night and I'm like good old Texas boy, Christian Texas boy coming from West Texas. And I'm like 11, 12 o'clock at night in my bed, eyes wide open. And he's talking to this lady on the phone. And I'm like right there. And I remember one night, dude, evidently the woman had enough. And she was like, "We can't do this anymore. We got to be done." And I remember we had like one of those old 70s style. It wasn't a rotary phone, but it was one of those beige telephones that with the big head and the big bottom in the middle of both the beds on the wall, and that's how you called out. And it had like the big gray buttons. And I remember, and I'm probably like 3 feet from him when he's on the phone. I'm just laying there wide awake, pitch black room, and he started talking to her, and she's telling him that it's over. And he literally takes the phone. And he swings back and he hits the phone receiver on the wall and just shatters it all over me in the bed. And I'm just like, "Oh God, I'm gonna die." I'm like, "Oh God. And he's like, and he starts like yelling in Hungarian and all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, what have I gotten myself into? And I remember the next day I was like, I got to go find somewhere else to live. And I remember I went somewhere else.
But did he apologize for it, the way he acted, or he didn't care?
No, he didn't care.
So are we going to do the Attila deck now or what?
And have a big phone in the front?
Just a fist breaking a phone, and then the rest of the pattern is just the pieces, and it spells Attila.
And I swear, I literally don't remember him not wearing like an Adidas tracksuit, and he looked like I know he's from Hungary, but he totally looked like some like Iron Curtain Yugoslavian mafia guy or something like that. He was crazy.
Can we look him up?
I have no idea. No, I don't remember. Attila, I can't remember his last name.
I wonder what happened. Like, I wonder what the woman's husband looked like. If she's going with Attila, what was the husband?
I don't know. And I want to see where that guy is now. And
well,
that's so.
Then, so he's got to be like what, almost 60 now, or?
Yeah, that's so fascinating to me. Like where that guy would be now.
Oh, I always like that. That's the only reason. Like, I look up people I went to school with. Is like, well, what if I want to see if I was right? Like, I kind of would predict, like, this guy's definitely going to jail. This guy's whatever. Like, I want to know how accurate my spidey sense is.
Yes, your spidey sense. Oh, but now that I look back upon it, it was like, that was like such a great memory.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Roommates are terrible though in college.
Oh, they were awful. I went potluck 2 or 3 times, and every time I got just a character, man.
Did you?
I kind of started liking it, doing it, and figuring out seeing who I'd get.
But see, you like uncomfortable situations. You like to be uncomfortable. That's how you push yourself.
I guess so, because I loved doing it and finding who we'd get next. I got this one guy that I don't think he ever went to class. Yeah, it was crazy. It was such a great experience. All those potluck roommates. University of North Texas in Denton.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Benji, where they filmed Benji, Denton,
Yeah,
Texas.
that's Benji. Yep.
And they have like a little barbecue shop there that's now gone. That's a town that went hipster, I heard. I heard Denton now
Oh,
is a hipster town.
oh yeah. Yep.
Because I knew a couple of people who lived there, and they were into like, just like kind of like some LA stuff, but in Denton. And it seemed like Denton was a really beautiful little town, though.
Yeah, it is. It was it was nice when I was there, but it definitely went the way of the hip.
Yeah, I mean, but Benji should be the name of the town. They should just call it Benji, Texas.
I remember my dad, because my dad went to school there too, and he said that I think he worked on like the parks and grounds crew when they were shooting all that stuff.
Well, yeah, there's like those scenes in kind of like a rose garden, like a rose park kind of thing, where this like the police officer was sitting there. You know what's funny is when I was at USC, I used to hang out, like not hang out, but I used to talk to Pat Hitchcock, Alfred Hitchcock's daughter. And she used to come to like our class a couple times a year. And Hitchcock's great granddaughter was actually in my film class. And one time we were at lunch with Pat Hitchcock, and I said, "What did your dad like to watch? What kind of movies did Alfred Hitchcock like?" And she said, his favorite movie was Benji.
Really?
And I said, "Benji the dog?" And she said, "Oh, he could never turn it off. He would come home at 5 and eat dinner, and he would love to watch Benji, and he would say, 'Isn't this a great film?'"
That's crazy.
But it's funny, like I rewatched it a couple months ago, and it's got like, like my kids watched it with me, and they're like, "Dad, why are they kidnapping those kids?" I mean, the whole movie is like a hostage situation, right? Like they have like the kid is held hostage by like the friend.
I'm watching the trailer right now.
What's that?
I'm watching the trailer as you talk.
Wait, Benji?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just remastered it. They remastered it, so it's like it looks awesome.
That's crazy.
It's a great movie, though. Anyone out there want to see like what a 70s, 80s movie was? It's basically like a terrorist hostage situation, but a dog saves the day. I mean, that's what we grew up on.
You know, I remember it was scary to me when I was growing up. But it was in the 80s. I think it was called The Boogeyman. And I remember that they made a newer version of it called The Boogeyman, and and the newer version that was made like in the 2000s would always screw up my searching, but I could never find it. And it was kind of one of those late 70s, early 80s movies like Benji, but it was like called The Boogeyman. And I remember loving that movie, and I could never find it now.
I remember a VHS box called The Boogeyman that was black and like navy blue and had like kind of a shadow on it. I don't know if that's it.
I don't know either.
I grew up in a video shop, like just being in a video store all the time. So I remember like boxes. And I
love the video stores.
I love that time, dude. Like I remember listening to like, I was a kid in the aisles, and you would just listen to people like, "Oh no, they have Blue Velvet? Put that back. That's a pornographic film." And you get older and you're like, Blue Velvet's a great movie. It's like, but in the 80s, like it was like that kind of Stepford Wives thing. Like they had heard there's a nudity scene in a movie, or like you'd get like those old women would come in and they'd be like, "Do you have that Bruce Willis movie?" And they'd be like, Die Hard? They'd be like, "No, the NC-17 one, Color of Night." And you'd be like, "Oh, Color of Night? Okay, what's this about?" Remember that movie, that big deal about like, Bruce Willis showed his peen for like 5 milliseconds or whatever?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
That was like a big thing back then. Remember, it was like the whole talk of the town was that, there was a NC-17 film at the video store.
Bro, I remember the video store. That was such a great part of growing up. It was called the Video Stop in Canyon, Texas. And
what's there now? Have you been back and seen like what took its place?
I honestly think that it's still the video stuff. It may not still be open, but the guy still owns the building.
Oh, okay.
And it still says the Video Stop on it. I wonder if it's still there. But I remember going in there, and I would go in there myself, and my grandmother or my mom would give me like some change, and I would go in there all the time, and the guy that owned it knew me, and it always have like that black and green dot matrix computer screen.
Yeah.
And and it would always pop up flashing no rated R movies, and he would never let me rent a rated R movie because my parents would tell him, you know, no rated R movies for Jackson, and I would always remember. I remember like looking like at I loved the boxes, and I would just sit there looking at all the boxes. And I would have loved, and my favorite was like all the horror movie boxes.
That's me.
Like what was the one?
Chopping Mall, and then I Spit on Your Grave, and then Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah, and like remember what was it, Leprechaun?
Yes, Leprechaun was later. The Gate, remember the Gate had like
Yes.
the eyes coming out of the fonts for the Gate.
Yes. And what was that one that it wasn't Tremors, because the Tremors case was like this too. I think it was the one where like it may have been one where they turn into a werewolf, but I just remember the box, and coming up from the bottom of the box was like this human head face, and then coming out of the mouth of the human was like a wolf's mouth.
The Howling?
I don't know, but I remember like that image of that human face with the wolf coming out of the mouth would terrify me when I would go in there. But I could draw it perfectly for you like right now.
I know, that's how it works. People today can't understand it. Like I remember when a horror movie box came out for a movie called Frankenhooker. Remember that movie?
Yes, yes.
And you pressed the box and it would say, "Want a date?" It was a girl's voice. It would say, "Want a date?" Like boxes toward like 91 had got so high tech for the time. I mean, they could actually say something.
What was it wasn't Werewolves in London. I'm trying to find
The Howling, or The Howling 2.
The Howling?
Uh-huh.
1981. No, but I remember that. I remember that VHS. But I just remember the VHS ones. Howard the Duck, man.
Howard the Duck was cool. I remember one, Ghoulies. Remember, it was like a little toilet and like a little green monster.
Yes, that would freak me out. Remember, and then Piranhas.
Piranhas, I remember. I think James Cameron actually did second unit for Piranha something. I remember watching Ghoulies, and my mom had just got into watching Jimmy Swaggart, like the televangelist guy, in the 80s. Remember him?
Yes.
He would like cry, and then he was caught like banging some chicks or something. But my mom had got into kind of like this Christian kind of thing, this streak, and I had rented Ghoulies, and she used to let me watch whatever I wanted. And then I had Ghoulies on, and then she said, "Brad, you have to turn it off. That movie's satanic. Those things are from the devil." And I said, "Mom, it's a toy. It's a movie. There's no devil." Yeah, that's it. Ghoulies 2. That's the actual one that I rented.
This box would freak me out, but I would like love looking at them and finding them.
But you weren't allowed to rent that.
Oh, heck no.
Did you go to your friend's house and sneak over though?
No, we were never able to get it. Because all my friends would have the same like restrictions on there. Because they would always go without their parents. We would just go in there and rent. We'd rent like Flight of the Navigator or
That's a great movie, by the way.
It was.
The Boy
We could rent all that. Yeah, we'd rent all that stuff. I loved Flight of the Navigator. That was awesome.
Yeah, I liked that movie a lot. I saw it in the movie theater when it came out.
Yeah, I like to. Yeah, those. What a great time.
Yeah, someone writing on here, what would Game of Thrones have been like in the 80s? It would have been Conan.
Yes, it would have been Conan. Conan the Barbarian.
It would have been the governor of California with his shirt off.
The wheel of crime must be satisfied.
Do you remember UHF, Weird Al Yankovic's movie?
Oh yeah.
That was a great one. We used to watch that. My buddy Shane and I used to watch that movie just so much we broke the tape. Wheel of Fish.
Dude, I had a buddy. What was his name? His name was Matthew Brake, and there was this was junior high, and there was like a group that was like, it was called like, I think it was called PALS, like Positive Action Leadership, something like that. Mm-hmm. So we would go around to different schools doing like skits and stuff, whatever. And there was a tryout. You would have to do tryouts. like you couldn't do this now. But Matthew Brake and I, we went to Walmart and bought like flesh-colored sweatsuits, like bottoms and tops. So we bought flesh-colored sweatsuits, and then we filled them with pillows, so we looked like sumo wrestlers. And then we borrowed our dad's whitey tighties, and we pulled our whitey tighties up over our flesh-covered sweatsuit. And Matthew Brake and I, our tryout was him and I break dancing to "You Know I'm Fat" by Weird Al Yankovic.
That's creative, though, man. You didn't have.
You know I'm fat. I'm fat. Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome.
My kid loves the song "Fat," and she has it on like her little music thing, and we listen to it all the time.
Yeah, more chins than Chinatown and stuff like that.
Did you get the tryout?
Oh heck yeah, we got in, man. We were in.
Yeah, he's gonna need his own zip code.
Yes, more chins than Chinatown, more in the phone book, whatever.
Yeah, I love that song. I love Weird Al. Weird Al used to always perform at the fair by my house, and he had like a suit that was like a blow-up suit where he would come on stage like the fat suit. It was amazing, like to be able to change at a concert like that.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. Do you remember? Not just going through memory lane. Do you remember the guy named Gallagher?
Yeah, the watermelon guy.
The guy that would smash watermelons with a big sledgehammer?
And then Dave Chappelle did Black Gallagher.
What would he smash? What would he smash?
Do you remember that when he's like, "I'm going to smash some fruit"? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah, I remember Gallagher was like my parents, I think, had rented Gallagher. And then they told me to go play in my room. And then I came out to like get a drink. And my dad's like, get back. And I saw like smashing watermelon. But then like, I think, he had some adult content and they didn't want me to see that. I mean, I remember going to the movie theater actually when my dad was still around. And he used to cover my eyes like in Top Gun when they were kissing or stuff. They used to cover my eyes and stuff.
I remember, let's see. I think I remember my first rated R movie that my dad took me to was Terminator 2, I think.
That's the greatest action movie ever made.
Yeah, and I was like, have you ever seen those like evangelical strongmen groups?
No.
So there was a group called the Power Team, and they were like these huge, strong guys that would do kind of all crazy strongman type stuff. And then it was like an evangelical type thing. He took me to a power team thing, and then we went from the power team thing, we watched Terminator 2, and then after that it was like tornado season, and there was like 15 tornadoes within like 20-mile radius of because we were like right in Tornado Alley. And I remember it was like one of the greatest nights of my life because we went and saw the Power Team. I watched my first radar movie, which was Terminator 2, and it like changed my life because it was so awesome. And then it was like all these tornadoes. It was awesome.
And how old were you? That was 92.
Was that 92? So I was 10.
I went and saw Terminator 2 that summer, I think 10 times in the movie theater. I used to ride my bike and just sneak in. I mean, I was obsessed with that movie. My mom took me to the Terminator 2 convention at LAX Hilton, and Schwarzenegger showed up, and when he walked on stage as the Terminator, he said, "James and I are going to make a movie called Sperminator 3, I'll come again." And that's the first, I remember that as a kid. I was like, what is he talking about? Like, that was the first thing Schwarzenegger said, like when he came out. And then I was playing pinball with Eddie Furlong, and he was dressed as John Connor. He had like the Public Enemy shirt and the camouflage. And he was a super cool kid. And then he had like handlers, that were like, "Come on, Eddie, we gotta go and do this stuff and that." And it was a convention, and they had like all the endoskeletons and stuff there. It was awesome.
That's crazy.
Think about like the time we're living in. You can go on YouTube now because like last year I thought, did that really exist, the Terminator 2 convention, or did I make it up? And I put in T2 convention LA, and someone has a full camcorder, like hour-and-a-half video, just like you were there. And like, it's funny to match up your memory. Like,
wow. That's crazy.
It was awesome, dude. That's a great movie, though. That's one of the only like great big budget mainstream movies that still is like someone did something with $100 million.
Oh yeah, and I think it holds up. I think it still holds up really well too.
Dude, and the acting in it, like the T-1000 is so frightening.
Oh man, I remember the only two movies. Let me see. Like I remember the two movies that I went to go see a lot, like go back, were the original Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves
Yeah, I saw that
with Kevin Costner. I went back a ton for that.
with the Bryan Adams soundtrack.
Oh yeah, everything I do it for. Anyways, we got that Robin Hood, and then Jurassic Park, the first one.
Jurassic Park, I love the book, and I didn't like the movie. I remember I was bummed out. I saw that at Mann Theater in Oceanside, California, and I was just super bummed out.
I think the reason why I liked Jurassic Park the most was me and my buddy, basically, we went and we knew all the scary parts, and we would just scare all the girls. We would just like get behind the girls and like kick their, because it was like an old crappy theater that had wooden seats, and we just like kick the seats and like scare all the girls at the scary parts. Maybe that was the reason why I liked to go see it.
That's probably a lot better. I mean, my theater that I saw it in smelled like piss. It was like a lot of Marines used to go there, and I don't know, but my mom used to comment on it. I mean, she took me to see it. I was like 14, and she's like, it always smells like someone pissed in this theater.
Because they probably did.
It was like a bunch of Marines. Like it was like, Marines were in Oceanside, and I think Marines were pissing in the theater, but it really did. It always did smell like piss. And now today it's a Barnes & Noble. So I don't know if they knocked the piss out of it. I don't know.
That's funny.
You know what though, dude? Like someone just said, it's crazy how Jurassic Park holds up. I'll tell you another reason I don't like that movie is because I used to work for a Laserdisc distributor in college, and every totally mental audiophile used to show you the Jurassic Park THX Laserdisc, and they would say, "Did you hear the footstep? It doesn't sound right. It's off. The footstep's off." And it's like, I understand sound. Like I have sensitive hearing. I get it. But these guys were totally nuts. They would always be like a middle school teacher in Santa Ana, and they would spend all their money into just sound equipment. And they would just complain about the dinosaur hiss. It's a little bit high. You hear the high end on that? You hear the high end, it's crunchy. You hear the crunchy sound? And I swear to God, dude, that movie attracted the most insane sound people. So every time I look at the movie, I just think of those people.
That's funny. What was another movie? Do you remember a movie called Eraserhead?
Eraserhead's a great movie. David Lynch.
Yeah. That's David Lynch?
David Lynch's first movie. He made it over 5 years while he lived in the horse stables in the Doheny Ranch when it was still there, and went to AFI. He won a contest to get a master's degree for the AFI, American Film Institute.
That's crazy.
Dude, that movie, when you look at that, that's 5 years of having a crew maintain their hair, their weight, and just come back and shoot for nothing piecemeal. And you're building all those sets and keeping them there. I mean, that's real art.
That's crazy.
It's a Blue Velvet to me. Blue Velvet still, you seen Blue Velvet?
Uh-uh.
Oh, it's still one of the greatest movies ever made. David Lynch's 1986 film. It's one of the greatest movies that will ever be made.
Wow.
Look it up, dude. Dennis Hopper as Frank Booth. One of the most intimidating.
Oh, I love Dennis Hopper.
Me too. Have you ever seen Red Rock West with Nick Cage and Dennis Hopper about, I think it's West Texas?
Yes.
Where like the hitman gets the wrong money?
Yes. I like that girl and that other guy too that was in Dune. I like all those actors in Blue Velvet. That's cool. Well, bro, I need to go. It's like 12:30.
Oh shit, you're on that time. It's 11:30 here. It's just that the night's getting started. Where's my moonshine?
I'm gonna drink. That's on my case.
No, that's the line in Blue Velvet, is he keeps saying, "Where's my bourbon?" Dennis Hopper, when he walks in a room, he says, "Where's my bourbon?" You got to see it. You would love it.
I'll have to check it out.
Jackson, good seeing you. I'll see you this week. I'm gonna be at your door.
I'm ready. I got the bed turned down for you and warmed up.
This is the greatest man in history, folks. Love you, buddy. Take care.
All right, see you, man. Later.
Good night. Thanks for watching, everyone.